Hello and welcome to a rather special Sunday repeated on Wednesday program, and this is
The Mojo Hand. The winning boy's magic.
Marge, this ticket doesn't just give me a seat. It also gives me the right, no, the duty to make a complete ass of myself.
But as for me, I'm off to battle aliens on a faraway planet.
Hello, operator, give me the number for 911.
Who sent you here? Can't talk, little man? Bet can't play none either.
I could pull a better cartoon out of my ass. Hey, whoa! Wasn't that great, kid?
Oh, bitch, bitch, bitch.
Kill my boss! Do I dare live out the American dream?
Overload. Pleasure overload.
Uh-oh. Two independent thought alarms in one day.
Hey, good morning, Woodticks and Patriots. It's been a while. I have been off the air, but that's okay. It's a new year, new series of shows starting, topics to talk about that you won't believe. Well, yeah, you will, because you live in America. I'm over here at Lake Wish I Be Gone at the bunker, and we are ready to talk about interesting things that maybe the mainstream news media doesn't talk about. Oh, like that would ever happen, right? Yep. All right, and with that, we are gonna talk about California. How can you live in America and not talk about the beautiful sunshine state, America, California, and the village idiots that live out there and do crazy things? Illinois is not much different. They're holding some interesting things. You know, the first of the year starts many things by politicians. And where they come up with this stuff, well, I don't know, if you live there, you should know what your politicians are doing. I got a little chit-chat about Gen Alpha, a new nickname proposed and placed on our younger generation. That'd probably be great-grandkids or grandchildren. And we're going to talk about where good old Sniffin' Joe is running around to start the new year. And what he's been doing about funding the things that he thinks, not necessarily everybody thinks, but what he thinks needs to be funded with our tax dollars, your tax dollars, my tax dollars. Hey, so stay put. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, everybody. It is January 3rd. Yes, 2. No, that's peace. January 3rd today. January 1st, a lot of things kicked in around the country. It seems like that's the magic date for everything to kind of start. And I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff that's going into effect, these are laws that are going into effect that affect you and I. I don't know how the heck they pass or whatever. I'm sniffing out a couple of really bad legislator bodies. For instance, California, right off the AP, California is now offering health insurance to undocumented immigrants. Now, American language, English, is very specific, and it's interesting as heck to see how these reporting organizations. Now, this is AP and an interpretation by Forbes. Now, I'm not saying that's the greatest news source in the world, and probably not one of my favorites, but it's a story that crept out, and a lot of people who have wherewiths read Forbes. It says January 1st, California will become the first state to expand its state health care program eligibility for undocumented immigrants. Again, the English language is very specific. Undocumented immigrants. That would make them illegal aliens. Though the move has been hit with criticism from former President Donald Trump and other lawmakers and experts. Undocumented adults between the ages of 26 and 49 in California will qualify for health insurance under state Medi-Cal program beginning Monday, provided they meet eligibility requirements. Excuse me. That cough will creep in every once in a while because that's part of what I've been off the air for. Anyway, we'll give it the old red button. What's going on? Qualifications. You got to be between 26 and 49, apparently in California, and an illegal alien. The move expands the state's health insurance coverage to include all undocumented immigrants. I do love the English language, how you can manipulate it. The state previously only covered undocumented children between 19 and 25. Did you know that somebody 25 was a child? I had no idea. I thought that was kind of cool. And 50 years and older. Wait a minute. Undocumented children between 1925 and 50 years and older. What's the percentage of, I should have looked. California's population is what? Anyway, this expansion, which approved in the legislation in May, will make around an additional 700,000 undocumented residents eligible for health insurance, according to the California State Senator Maria Elena Durazo. It's the California Health and Human Services Agency will provide $835 million in funding between 23 and 24 and $2.6 billion annually to expand Medi-Cal to residents regardless of immigration status. So they got a back door that somehow if you live in California and you're a lazy bum or you sell drugs, anything off the market, maybe you're an eBay king or queen, you can get Medi-Cal. Love it. However, eligibility requirements still apply, including income limits based on household size. Unreported income? According to the release in Health and Human Services. Participation in the program won't hurt a person's immigration status. How can it hurt? Because the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services doesn't consider receipt of health, food, or housing benefits part of the public charge determination. What is a public charge? Food or housing benefits as a part of public charge determination. So you're an agent of the state, a public charge. Is that what that is? Some experts and lawmakers have criticized the state's decision. The California State Republican Caucus was already strained by the 14.6 million citizens using it. Now adding 764,000 more individuals to the system will certainly exacerbate current provider access problems. On and on and on it goes. In 2020 State of the Union address, former President Trump said California could bankrupt our nation by providing free taxpayer-funded health care to millions of illegal aliens. Illinois provides coverage to kids up to 18 and passed a law to expand coverage to those 42 years and older. So Illinois is jumping on the California bandwagon. I have somebody's calling in. Yeah. Whatever. I know. I have a big string right there. You like that, don't you? There you go. Somebody's calling in criticizing my wardrobe. Anyway, it goes on and on. And Illinois did the same thing on January 1st to provide health care services to their population. No, wait a minute. They don't have an illegal health care population. Or they don't have an illegal population. They only have tents sitting in O'Hare. Okay, let's see. Now, according to this report, that undocumented immigrants use fewer health care resources than non-immigrants. Listen to the English language there, what people in the press that are pushing this crap out to the public. The people who read Forbes are not average citizens, usually. Undocumented immigrants use fewer health care resources than non-immigrants. I'm a non-immigrant, apparently, but yet the argument comes out by many in personal one-on-one conversations that everybody immigrated to America, so we're all immigrants. That doesn't kick it for whatever reason that argument pops up. There's some education that needs to happen in a few camps when people talk like that. And according to the U.S. Study in 2018, the International Journal of Health and Human Services, immigrant health care costs were between 1/2 and 1/3 of non-immigrants. Why is it that journalists, quote unquote, they're editorialists, there are no journalists around anymore, you mix the English language up with their own definitions so that it softens the conversation? Won't happen around here. I'm going to tell you like it is. Citizens, non-citizens, illegal people, throw them in jail. Sorry. Round them up, send them back. 309,000 this last month, December, something like that, at the border came in. The highest ever in statistics that have been kept. It's a mess down there, and I may go down there shortly, and depends on if I pick up stuff or not. It says, according to the study, half of undocumented immigrants and about 18% of lawfully present immigrants. See, I love this. How can you be an undocumented immigrant and then be a lawful immigrant? You're an illegal alien until you become a citizen. It's just the way it is. Wait a minute. There's 500 different genders. I forgot about that. Depends upon who you talk to, right? Anyway, it says a report being uninsured compared to less than 18% of lawfully present immigrants report being uninsured. So only 18% of the lawful immigrants have no insurance. Cover them if you want to cover them because they're lawful immigrants. I don't get it. 66%, that's how many Californians in 2021 supported expanding health insurance to all undocumented immigrants. 66% of the village idiots in California wanted this to happen. Can you believe that? Do you want to live in sunny California? I sure as hell don't, with people thinking like that. And then they move out of California and bring their thinking, if they call it that, to Arizona or Colorado and start making, well, how come this state doesn't offer immigration help? I don't get it. I don't get it. Let's jump over here to Sniffin' Joe. Let's see what Sniffin' Joe is doing today. He's starting off the new year and his campaign trail, if you can call it that, on Saturday in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, to evoke the Revolutionary War on the 3rd anniversary of the insurrection of the U.S. Capitol. Yeah, did you follow that? I'm trying to. This came out of the AP too. You can go ahead and laugh with it. If I had a co-host sitting here, we'd be laughing together, I'm sure. Yes, we'd be very, very sure. But let me turn this down. I think I'm distorting. But you never know. There, that's a little better. No, maybe not. We'll go back up a smidge. Hang on 2 seconds. Technical. We have new software. We have new cameras. Blah blah. Anyway, he's gonna remember that. How do you put Valley Forge in the insurrection to evoke the Revolutionary War on the 3rd anniversary? 3 years. Boys and girls have been sitting in jail for 3 years based on a revolution, a failed insurrection, quote unquote. I don't get it. He'll visit South Carolina church where a white gunman massacred black parishioners. That's, again, an AP report. Why it matters. This is coming out of Axios, I think. Biden wants to cast the election in the starkest possible terms, arguing it could determine the fate of American democracy. I thought we were a republic, democratic republic. But I don't know. It's just the English language, my interpretation. Biden is delving into some of the country's darkest moments rather than relying on an upbeat affirmation of his record. What exactly is upbeat about his record? I'm sure they'll go on to tell us. Yeah. During both events, he'll characterize former President Trump as a threat to the nation's founding principles. Really? I don't think so. That's just my opinion. Hey, just me. In response, Trump official Jason Miller told Axios, when is Biden going to the border? When's he going to Pennsylvania? Some kind of a massive chemical train wreck? Has he ever been there? Like he said he was going to be there? No, I don't think so. Anyway, that's kind of sort of the basic itinerary of the president, if you can call him that. I guess he is. He's in the office. Did he get elected? They say he did. I don't know if you can believe the voting machines or not right now. Now, just out of curiosity, where am I here? Sorry, I got some new stuff here. No, that's not it. Where'd it go? Something took off on me here. I hate it. I need to get a new, I guess it ain't here. Wow. Well, so much for that. Anyway, I had a picture of Sniffin' Joe sitting listening. But anyways, on with out of the file, United States, Israel, and Gaza. Three things. What about the border? Where does any of this hit our southern border, let alone our northern border? I'm telling you, here at Lake Wish I Be Gone, we're very aware of the northern border of the United States of America. Sorry, I got to have a cup of coffee here. Hey, you can get your Sniffin' Jim coffee mugs. Just send on your request. But anyway, out of the files, President Joe Biden listens as he and Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu participate in an expanded bilateral meeting with Israel and U.S. government officials. This was in October. Tel Aviv for a second time this month for the meeting where Biden administration is bypassing Congress to approve an emergency weapons sale to Israel. Now, this is getting a little out of hand. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a hand. Out of hand. I thought that Congress had the purse strings. That's just my interpretation of how I think our republic should be running and what our forefathers talked about. And that was a little backdrop on this thing, because the two items or meetings are pretty much tied together by one simple fact. Sneaky Joe, Sniffin' Joe, sold arms to Israel. don't think that's a bad thing given what happened over there. But guess what? They were non-usable. Couldn't use them. As the newest article says, for the second time this month, Biden administration is bypassing Congress to approve an emergency weapons sale to Israel as Israel continues to prosecute. I love they use the English language. To prosecute its war against Hamas in Gaza under increasing international criticism. Now, remember, he sold them arms over there before. This is actually quite comical, how the administration is doing this. The Secretary of State Blinken told Congress that he had made a second emergency determination covering $147.5 million sale for equipment that is needed to make the 155 millimeter shells that Israel has already purchased. That was the last meeting where they gave them the 155 millimeter shells that Israel had already purchased in order to make them function. It includes fuses, charges, and primers that's needed to make the 155 millimeter shells that Israel already purchased function. Let's sell them a bunch of $155 millimeter shells, but we won't give them the charges to the fuses. The primers are, we'll just send it off, and then they'll come back and ask for more because they won't do them any good because they can't make them work. This is the roundabout that Sniffin' Joe and administration are using. And Congress does what? Hello, Congressman, I got a bone to pick with you because you continue to allow this to happen. You can piss and moan all you want. But this guy does things like this, the workaround, the back door, and you call DT a threat to democracy and the American way of life? Who the hell are you trying to kid? This is crazy. It's an emergency determination. Consider this, an emergency determination that we'll sell you this much, but you can't make it work. So then a month later, or later in the month, you come back and say, well, guess what? I need the triggers and I need the primers and the fuses. So now we make another emergency determination, excuse me, because we were dumb enough to sell them or smart enough to sell them arms and munitions that don't work until they come back and spend more money. In consumer language, this is called bait and switch. Absolutely, positively. And we're going to start a new segment on the show. You know, everybody advertises, oh, we're so great, buy our products, this, that, and the other thing. I'm going to do a series of, who the hell do you think you are to do this to me? You do something, you buy something, and it ain't what they told you it was going to be? Send me the information. Where are we here? Right there. Oops, that's 2. This is all wrong. I got this all wrong. Sorry, I got new toys here. Where's the email? Sorry, I got to look. That ain't right. I guess I can't. It was working before. I don't know why. It was working here. No, it ain't. Now it's Cam 2. I don't know. I got everything all screwed up. Send us, send me your information at news@thejustjimshow.com. And we will consider it, and we will give free advertising. Absolutely free. No charge to you or the company that you're sending to me that's had this happen to you. Anyway, the emergency determination means the purchase will bypass the congressional review requirement for foreign military sales. So we have a legal workaround, and Congress does what? Sits on their butts doesn't undo this. Such determinations are rare, excuse me, but not unprecedented. They're rare, but it's 2 times in 1 month. We'll sell them half the goods and then sell them the other half to make it work. Don't you get the theory, the scam? Remember now we're talking about, quote unquote, the crime family. I'll just say the crime family. You put the name to whatever it is, because there's a bunch of them out there as far as I'm concerned. And Blinken made a similar decision on December 9th to approve the sale to Israel of nearly 14,000 rounds of tank ammunition worth more than $106 million. And now they're also, it seems to be $100 million here, $100 million there. Both moves has come as President Biden's request for nearly $106 billion aid package to Ukraine, Israel, and other national security needs remains stalled in Congress. Thank you. Until he turns around and just says, oh, hell with Congress, we're just going to go do it because this is an emergency. Some Democratic lawmakers have spoken of making the proposed $14.3 billion in American assistance to its Mideast ally contingent on concrete steps by Netanyahu's government to reduce civilian casualties during the war. You know, war is ugly, and I'm sorry, I got to say this. War is ugly. When you find a fuse that makes a 155 millimeter go off, it's going to land somewhere where you're pointing it. Typical hunter safety rules. Know what's at your target and beyond. And you hit the fire button, it's going to go. And in war, I guess you just do not have a clue of who's standing over there when you hit the button, or you think that someone's there and you got to get rid of them. You know, casualties exist in war. It's a brutal fact because war is brutal. Not necessarily something we really want to be in. But the way things are going, I don't know. The State Department sought to counter potential criticism on the sale on human rights grounds, saying it was in constant touch with Israel to emphasize the importance of minimizing civilian casualties. Which have soared since Israel began its response to October 7th. And if you're Israel, you know where it is. You've seen maps. If you haven't, go look them up. The size of Israel and what they're surrounded with are, I don't know, not exactly what we want to. Bypassing Congress with emergency determinations for arms sales in an unusual step. I can't talk this morning. Unusual step that has, in the past, met resistance from lawmakers who normally have a period of time to weigh in on proposed weapons transfers and, in some cases, block them. In May of 2019, Mike Pompeo made an emergency determination of $8.1 billion sale to weapons to Saudi Arabia. What was so needy in 2019? He gave away sold his stuff to Arab Emirates and Jordan after it became clear that Trump administration will have trouble overcoming lawmakers' concerns about Saudi and the European Union-led war in Yemen. I don't. Yeah, and President Bush did the same thing in '79, blah, blah, for the Gulf War. I don't know. We'll be right back. We'll talk a little bit more. I got a couple more articles to talk to. It's going to be a short show today because, as you saw, I'm having some technical difficulties. We'll be right back. right, we're back. God, I got a frog in my throat. Excuse me. This has been one heck of a year for the Just Jim. How's life out in Connecticut? I know, I love it. Speaking of the East Coast, one of our viewers out in Connecticut, we if you have been tuned into the news anywhere, you'll have heard the scuttlebutt about Harvard and the person who was running, chairman of the board, university president, Claudine Gay. And let's see what we got. There we go. There she is, Claudine Gay. I don't think that's, let me see if this is correct. We got rid of camera 2. What do you know about that? Yeah. And anyway, she now was in front of the Congressional Oversight Committee talking about genocide of Jews and anti-Semitism. And she was asked a point-blank question. Is the actions of students at Harvard or professors at Harvard an act of anti-Semitism? It was a yes, specifically stated as a yes or no answer. She went on to blah, blah about whatever, blah, blah. It might be, it might not be. She is now the second president of Harvard in recent months to resign because of her blah, blah. I'll just say that because I could get really personal and blah, blah. And she's got the academia that I don't have. I shouldn't say that. Maybe I do. Well, no, I guess not. I don't like black horn-rimmed glasses. Just don't. Following a congressional hearing, Gay's academic career came under scrutiny by conservative activists. And why is it a conservative activist? The people to be looking at things. Isn't that what our Congress has subordinates for, to do the research? Or are they too busy wading through 500,000 pages of legalese that's being dumped on their desks to pass or not pass? They had unearthed several instances of alleged plagiarism in her 1997 doctoral dissertation. What does that equate to? Plagiarism. The Harvard Corporation, Harvard's governing board, initially rallied behind Gay, saying that a review of her scholarly work turned up, quote, a few instances of inadequate citation. Doesn't know how to complete the job. Take a look around in your world. How many people or co-companies are saying they're in business? Hi, give me your business. And then they can't complete the job. How many people within your organization fall under that category? I call them village idiots. They somehow got to where they are through no qualifying means, but they're there. This happened, I think it happened in Milwaukee, Wisconsin a number of years back, where the president of the school board in Milwaukee, I think it was, I'm rattling the cage back here, that totally made up a resume, had no qualifications, but got somehow elected to the board to run the school board for a city. A huge deal. I think they got told to resign at the time too, and I don't think she did at the moment or right away. Anyway, So a few instances of inadequate citation, but no evidence of research misconduct. Can you imagine? No research misconduct. We just forgot to give credit to credit where credit goes. Days later, the Harvard Corporation said it found 2 additional examples of, quote, duplicative language without appropriate attribution. The board said Gay would update her dissertation and request corrections. Isn't that funny? You submit a paper and blah, 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 blah. You just misquote or have a quote, and off you go. You get elected to a position, and then all of a sudden somebody finds out, well, you really didn't do this work. Somebody else did it for you. So now you get to correct your test papers. You get to self-correct your test papers. When I was in school, I don't remember ever self-correcting any test papers in any of my classes. You do your work, you pencil in or circle a dot, whatever you're doing, turn it in, and it's either right or it's wrong. And you get graded on your rights and wrongs. This happens to be wrong. Ta-dum-da. The Harvard Corporation said the resignation came with, quote, with great sadness. Wah, wah. And thank Gay for her, quote, deep and unwavering commitment to Harvard and the pursuit of academic excellence. Cheating on a dissertation paper, failing to give proper accreditation, is a deep commitment to academic excellence? You have got to be kidding me. Who the hell are these people? Yes, this is not a child-friendly show. I swear like a drunken sailor, even though I'm not. Alan Garber, provost and chief academic officer, will serve as an interim president. We need an interim president because we've got to make sure a student goes down the corridor to classroom A and classroom B because they're not smart enough to know where to go. We need an interim. You got a board of review. You got boards. The board of directors. These people can make decisions. They don't need somebody hand-holding their classes. Until Harvard finds a replacement, the board said in a statement, Gerber, an economist and physician, has served as provost for 12 years. Let make him dean. Who cares? Particularly, I don't. But anyway, Gay went on to, do the blah, blah about, I just forgot to do it. I didn't want to add another 15 pages. Excuse me. Had a big sneeze there. Gay said in her letter, it has been, quote, distressing to have doubt cast on my commitments to confronting hate and upholding scholarly rigor, 2 bedrock values that are fundamental to who I am, and frightening to be subjected to personal attack and threats fueled by racial animus. Well, there you go. You got busted with your hand in the cookie jar, eating the cookies you wasn't supposed to be eating. And now you're going to call racism. Lordy, we are so upside down as a country. Upside down. Now, probably, where are we? I don't know if this will make an hour. Whatever. We'll just do this last show here, or last article. Let me get rid of this. I don't like looking at her anyway. Just because. Where the hell are we? There it is. There. An interesting subject that is in everybody's. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of parents, and it's right up there in high concern. Artificial intelligence. And it's funny how, when I use the word funny, it's disgusting. I should just say disgusting. How politicians who don't know their ass from the hole in the ground are so concerned about artificial intelligence and where it's going or heading, or they think it's going to go, that they want a piece of the action to control it. Typical politician, I can't say any plainer than that, if they don't know something about it, they'll create a subcommittee or a committee to look into it. They'll muster the best thing that they can do, somebody who can ask a question, not necessarily know anything about what it is they're subcommitteeing, and off they'll go. They'll start to slap restrictions or parameters on based on what they think they know. And you got to trust me that it ain't doodly squat. This has been going, artificial intelligence has been going on, oh, God. And I will reiterate a story that I had probably 20 years ago, 10 years ago on the air. About 10 years. Years ago, and there are some of you who listen that know what FidoNet is. It was. It's still there. Alt.something. ALT.something. It's a communication program or interface that existed long before email and the web. The web and the dark web, blah, blah. And it was run mainly by universities. And during this time, when I was involved in it, there was a question proposed to those in the group. What is if we were to build the internet and if we were to open up email, because they already had it, they weren't using it yet, but if we were to open the internet and email to the average person, is that Al Gore? No, I don't know who it was. What would be, or would there be a percentage of the population that used it that would be addicted to it? Now, this was, again, probably 20 years ago, maybe more. I have one of my laptops around here. I still have it with an early Microsoft version on it, and I saved all the communications. Every computer I've ever had, I saved my communications for reference. And it usually took a week to have a roundabout by the time it hit this university, then over that university, and gathered all the subtopics underneath the primary topic. And the answer came back, it was probably 3 weeks later, by a consensus of opinion that yes, there would be addictions, that the good would probably outweigh the bad. So the consensus by university personnel was to make the web, the internet, and open up email communications, as in a direct one-on-one, and open it up and let it happen. But that at the time, the group, estimated that the acceptable, quote-unquote, losses to addiction would be comparable to alcoholism and or at the time, drug addiction. But that the good, or there would be more good than bad. So here we go. We've gone so far so fast, and you've seen, what's that movie, The Wars, where the computer's playing thermonuclear war. I forget the name of it. Anyway, that today there is now, where are we? Why is that? Should be a full screen. Oh, it is. Called the Gen Alpha generation. Generation Alpha. Because of how fast AI is learning and moving forward, I'm sure you've seen little news snippets about the incursion of AI, whether it's controllable or not, because of its ability to compound it on itself its own knowledge. So from there, this generation, people are now writing about it, the Generation Alpha, it's a generation born fully in the 21st century. The oldest alphas are about 13 years old. The youngest will be born in the coming year, 2024. This landmark generation is the first to live fully online. And you know that this is true. Again, speaking to some parents and or grandparents taking care of their grandkids, this, their smartphone, their tablets, their laptops are all important to them. There is nothing that is more important than having social strings attached outside of their physical being. And can spend more money more easily at their age than any previous generation. So it's now falling into the revenue generation category and for businesses to look at. And we all know that every business is absolutely concerned with the welfare of their customers. Doesn't matter how old they are, they're concerned. Who are they? Alpha Gen, or Gen Alpha, born between 2010 and 2024, is expected to be the largest in history at more than 2 billion people. If I could get each one of those people to listen and donate $1 to me and my show, I'd be styling. Consider that. Says Mark McCrindle, a social researcher who coined the term Generation Alpha and determined its bounds. So we've got the parameters now, who they are, Gen X, this, that, and the other thing. The youngest members of Gen Alpha, whose oldest members were born after Apple had already introduced the iPhone, have been labeled iPad kids. You can label them anything you want. Their usage of electronic articles that gather information. I think parents and grandparents don't understand the depth by which these little tools that were intended to be good actually gather information, data. It's all about data. Its oldest members happen to be born the year the iPad debuted. What to watch out for? And here we go. If any of you have ever watched the Senate hearings, congressional hearings, these kids have TikTok as a platform of choice. How many of your kids do little TikTok videos? How many of your kids do little YouTube videos? Why is YouTube now looking at having preference to short 1 minute video, whatever, communications from its users? They want short tweets. Twitter, X now, whatever. These are all of these short things that do gather information, where you are, what you're doing, the stuff is so advanced. It's actually can read the place you are because it knows what tower you're on, knows what IP you're using, and it stores the data. It's just a matter of how much data can it store as a collective. They're having a media-centric childhood in a way that is different because the kinds of media they're interacting with from incredibly young ages. 10-year-old granddaughter got access to a Facebook version of Facebook, supposedly geared towards youngsters. So be it. But the usage and the mental ability to rationalize, I shouldn't be doing this at this time of the day. Excuse me. That hurts. That isn't there. There's only the want and the need factor in a rationalization of what it is I'm about to do because I want to do it and I can do it. The old saying holds very true with AI or any social electronic media piece of equipment. Just because you can do it does not mean you should be doing it. And that's one thing that is not being taught in our school systems. Guaranteed, because our teachers do it. I can tell you locally, teachers are planning Johnny's 6th birthday, and emails go out, and you're not supposed to do that by a contract that you signed when you got your job or new information or technology has been introduced to a network at your school, at your place of employment. How many people do you know that outright just send an email from their place of work? I can tell you, I know many, but one person who got elected to the mayor of a city used their place of employment, which is a medical facility, still is, and mustered his online campaign to get elected to public office through a private healthcare organization with the help of his wife, who was a teacher in a different city but had access to the internet and or IT network that we, the taxpayers, built for the education of our children. A caveat to that, you're not supposed to use the internet, the infrastructure that taxpayer dollars built for personal use. And would you like to know where the national champion of texting did his dirty work? In school, in his pocket with a flip phone. He won a national texting championship while sitting in class. On a flip top texting. Won, I forget, $50,000 or something for it. The big check is hanging on his dad's bar that everybody can see. And then he went and did it again, but he had graduated then. That activity was illegal. But because he won a national championship, he got lauded for being this intelligent person. He violated school district standards and regulations on our tax dollars, your tax dollars and my tax dollars, and it's going on around the country. People need to get involved with their school districts, and I'm going to say outright, stop the abuse. And again, I told you, teachers do it all the time. They got their own private little email group. They use .edu, or even some school districts choose to not use the .edu system for personal emails or regular emails for teaching or studies or whatever they do. They'll use, I got a government official locally sending me crap bull rider at frontier.com. And it's like, wait a minute, what? You're using your phone, Hillary Clinton, to do government business on your personal phone. And because you're not smart enough to know how to send that email back through the government network, it shows up as on my email box as a recipient of government information as her personal email account. Where I'm going with this is parents need to understand, and I get it. This generation right here, this alpha generation, doesn't know that the intricacies of security and other things. Teachers don't have a clue. Half their IT departments don't have a clue. They buy a prepackaged software system that says this software system will stop all the bad internet sites. You won't be able to do anything, blah blah. I have personal stories, grandkids stories that information is tracked and sent to college recruiting companies, and has been for years. And the more data that they gain, the better off they are with steering and accepting admissions. Well, you're not qualified to do that, and we have the data to prove it, but they'll never tell the parent about ready to try to write a check to get their kid into a college. Into Harvard. Doesn't matter. There's so much awry, and I'm going to tell you, I know people that are so far over my pay grade in the intelligence of AI. You'd fall over and get drunk, or get drunk and then fall over, because you'd say, "Oh, this is what's going on." And the news media, very few news media organizations will actually do a documentary and show you what's going on, and usually they're worst case scenarios, where you say, "This is going on. What are they doing?" And it is a not earth shattering, but a shattering experience to listen to these programs. But I'm going to tell you, there's so much more subtle things going on behind the scenes. TikTok. They sat in front of congressional hearings and swore, well, the American version of TikTok isn't the same as what China uses. Well, we know that because China has an entirely different TikTok software program. But in America, well, we don't track any information. And our kids use TikTok like hell bent for fury. Tween girls are being aggressively marketed by makeup and skincare companies, and it's working. Absolutely. They fall for anything because they don't stand for anything. I kind of throw the finger out at parents and grandparents and school systems. They don't look at the underlying issues that are making these kids fall for it all. And remember, there's 1 billion marketable people out there that are youngsters. There's an entire, and they're bound by what they call social media influencers. I hate to say it, I am one of them. So they tell me. I don't buy into it, but so they tell me. I'm a social media influencer. I guess because I do this. I don't have a clue. But because of the knowledge I've acquired over decades doing television programming for clients, I guess I am. I don't know. Whatever. That's a me thing. But I'm going to tell you, you need to get involved in your school system, what they're doing, why they're doing it. We have one district that I'm aware of. They open everything up until they find out it's bad, and then they close it down. And that doesn't work in the scheme of doing assigned schoolwork. What a teacher and a school district and an IT department absolutely need to do is shut it down. Have every teacher, write a report, not a thesis, but a report as to their curriculum and why they need to have their class go to a site. And an IT department should check it out, authorize it or deny it. And you'd be surprised the number of teachers that don't have a clue how to even rationalize that process. No, I don't have to rationalize it. Well, maybe you do need to, because you are teaching our next generation, actually our second generation, of how to use and thrive in the world. You can tell by my voice, I get irritated because of the village idiots that are out there running our world. It doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. I guess I have acquired knowledge. So maybe my PhD isn't valid. And with that, we're about done for the day. We ran a little over an hour. Normally I'll run 2.5. But again, I got some technical issues I got to sort out, which is fine. It's fine and dandy. How am I going to close today? I do not know. I want to thank y'all for listening. Hope you learn a little something and maybe get motivated to do something to get you down the road and your kids and grandkids down the road in a fruitful manner, not a helter-skelter thing. Excuse me. God, I got to get rid of this. It's been almost a year. Someday I'll tell you all why I've been off the air, but whatever. I guess I will close with... Well, before we go, I want to go on a lighter note. A buddy of mine sent me this, and maybe you'll find it interesting, at least comical.
Build Back Better. You've been hearing it a lot these days, mostly from people who get all their news from Facebook and believe everything it says. Well, here at Build Back Better Bank, we know you want the most from your money. That's why this week, if you open a new checking account, we'll give you a hard-boiled egg and a popsicle. That's right. How do we do it? Well, we're building back better. Need a tank of gas to get to your job? We have loans available for that too, at 3 different huge interest rates: Good Grief, Holy Smokes, and WTF. Plus, check out our new Build Back Better home equity loan so you can afford groceries this week. Only 579% interest, even less if you recently died from murder hornets or monkeypox. Because at Build Back Better Bank, we understand. Build Back Better Bank, where delusional thoughts become reality every day.
Oh, Lordy, if that ain't the truth, huh? Build Back Better Bank. I got to thank you, Jimmy. That is often awesome. I love it. I play it back every once in a while, just 'cause. All right, we're going to be done for the day. We'll see you next week. Absolutely, I'll be a little better prepared and whatever. So I say, if you believe that, I got some lowland around Lake Wish I Be Gone. Here we go. We're out the door. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Be good to each other, because that's all that there is.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a defender. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to sacrifice everything, his fortune, his sacred honor, even his life, for liberty and something called inalienable rights that he cannot see but knows he cannot live without. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to ride a horse through sleepy towns in the dark of night, sounding the alarm, entreating neighbors to take up arms against an overwhelming force of wicked tyranny. So God made a patriot. God said, I need someone who, even after crushing defeats, rises up and stands tall. Someone who hears the clarion call that these are the times that try men's souls and does not shrink from the trial. Someone who will cross a frozen river in the dead of winter, when all logic and reason says turn back, abandon hope. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who knows of the rise and fall of great nations, who knows of human nature and the corrupting influence of power and the fragility of liberty. I need this man, along with his like-minded brethren, to write an enduring constitution. So God made a patriot. God said, I need a person, one person, who's willing to do whatever it takes, even write a book to confront injustice and spark a movement that would tear apart a people so that chains will rightfully be shattered and a blessed union eventually emerge. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who, with the love of family and for the love of country, will cross a vast ocean and storm a heavily fortified beach. And, if he survives, charge through 200 yards of bullets and blood across that merciless beach. And if he survives, scale the towering cliffs. And if he survives, begin the long march to free a continent. And if he survives, return home and, with the same resolute determination, rebuild a nation, and someday be called the greatest generation. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will, without thought of self, invest in schools and scouts and church and community, so that the proposition that all men are created equal remains a beacon to enlighten the world, and that such a beacon shall not perish from the earth. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will have the courage to not give up her seat on a bus and thus force a nation to confront its deepest divisions and heal the wounds and pursue the dream that inspires all hearts. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone strong enough to stand against any enemy, foreign or domestic, that would try to steal the freedom so dearly defended, the rights so righteously upheld, yet gentle enough to help a small child carry a star-spangled flag in a hometown parade. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who will speak the truth to his own leaders, that in order to preserve our great nation, we will not sacrifice the well-being of future generations for the sake of our own. Someone who will tirelessly toil day upon night, no matter the setback, no thought of surrender. Someone who will prayerfully rise every morning to climb the wall as a defender, duly endowed with the honored gift of generations before, while offering a solemn promise to generations ahead. A defender who will ensure that the way of truth and the torch of liberty remain forever lit in this shining city on a hill. So God made a patriot.
Okay, folks, show's over. Nothing to see here. Show's... Oh, my God! A horrible plane crash! Hey, everybody, get a load of this flaming wreckage! Come on, crowd around. Crowd around. Don't be shy. Crowd around.